movie notes on the Goonies, 1985 film, 7 October 2025 viewing. Here's the disc. I just took it out of my computer and watched it on my laptop. And putting it back in its case. And here I, Tanis Coralee of Seattle, talk through my movie notes for my Tuesday, 7 October 2025 viewing of the 1985 film The Goonies, which is a fiction film about a group of youth in Astoria, Oregon, who set out on an adventure together to try and find pirate treasure after real estate developers threatened to disrupt their residents and their routine social group interactions. Yes, so essentially there's this group of friends and their youth, and there's like, they actually do say Astoria in here, if towards the end, if nothing else, they reference like the richest people in Astoria or something like that. And so one of the characters, or I guess a brothers pair, there's real estate developers threatening to kind of turn things into a real estate development. And so these friends go exploring in the attic of the house where these brothers live, and they find this like cloth map, and it's a treasure map for like pirate treasure. And so they decide, you know what, we're gonna do this as an adventure together. And so they go off to try and find it, and they find, it goes through a restaurant with, turns out to be some like bad guys on the run, kind of bad guys, adult bad guys. And so they go through this like tunnel system / cave system, and they end up underground, and they're going, and so then it's the story of them on this treasure hunt, and it is pretty cool. So there's a pirate ship in here, and from a geology / like nautical background perspective, there's a big wooden ship that belonged to the pirate, and it's stored in this like kind of like a lagoon in a cave, but it's actually, in watching it, and I remember looking at this growing up when I watched this movie. We watched this a lot growing up, because I live in, and we lived in Washington State, and Oregon is the state to our south, our southern neighbors here in the United States of America, and we had a boat for a few years, and the boat in the movie is actually stored, so to speak, on a system just above the water in the lagoon. So there's no like water damage to the boat, even though it's been stored indoors, and like in this cave. So there's no barnacles or anything like that. And I was thinking through, as like my geology background, and I was like, oh, a geology take on that is, I wonder if there's any like, if the water moisture or anything like that, if there was a rogue earth tremor or something, and it got a little bit of water onto the boat. Is a lagoon salt water or fresh water? It's like, would calcite crystals have grown? Could they have figured out the environment in the cave? In geology, calcite might or may be used to kind of construct what the environment was, or make inferences about what the environment might have been in a cave before present. And so I was kind of like, there's science, like, but there's not science, but there's like, the pristine nature of the boat is admirable, and something that, like, as I'm watching, like, it can't have me as a nautical person being like, you got it wrong, there's no barnacles on the boat, and the boat's in the water. No, they thought it through. They propped the boat up above water, and they're like, to the geologists, also me, no calcite crystals. It was suspended above the water, and there was no rogue wave or earth tremor to grow those crystals on the boat. So there we go. It was a fun kind of different perspective for this viewing. So those are my movie notes on the Goonies 1985 film, 7 October 2025 viewing. In this viewing, I did all the way through the end credits and the like information about like the studios or copyright or whatever that played after the end credits, until it took me back to the main menu for the DVD. There we go.